And we're off. All right. Good evening, everyone on the East Coast. Good afternoon, those who are joining us from the West Coast, and good morning or good middle of the night to everyone joining from Europe or other countries around the world. I'm Nick Mastoris, aka Hamaro from the Adventure Together team, and you are joined by most of the Adventure Together team tonight. We have Salpy, if you want to wave.
Hello.
We have Shaper. We have our wizard, Bob. And
Hello.
Amanda.
We found the dining room.
Oh,
It was in my medicine for some reason.
I'm very I'm very excited by your finding of the dime. Our wizard lost his dime, and you'll see we have two new faces. Well, one new face and one new individual joining us tonight. We have Arcane, aka Jeremy, who you guys will meet very shortly, and then we have Ozander or Eric, who is going to be talking with the community about grip mats tonight. So we're gonna dive right in. Over the past few weeks, months, since the Gamefound has launched, and before that, since our pledge manager has launched, we've been working on a lot of exciting stuff in the back end. We streamed just about a month ago from it was Salpy, myself, and Shaper, and we showed off some of the cool stuff we were working on. We showed off the new 24 hex configurations that we finally got in, and they were really, really great. And we showed off some of the new miniatures that had come in from our manufacturer, and we launched Gamefound that night. Thanks to all of you working with us. Gamefound is now in a really, really smooth state. Everybody's been able to check out, everybody's been able to get their orders, and anyone who was experiencing issues so far has, we've been able to remedy. So thank you all for bearing with us. It's been an exciting journey so far, and I'm just really, really pumped that we were able to do it. So our first topic on the agenda tonight is introducing one of the newest team members for Adventure Together. So about 2 months ago, we brought on Arcane, aka Jeremy, who has a background in architecture. Excuse me, I should say systems architecture and .NET development, and he has undertaken the Source app. So that is your open source application, and he has begun working on that. And he has also begun working on, even more excitedly, our map builder. So I just want the community to welcome Jeremy. He's now one of the co-founders for Adventure Together. He's part of the team, and we're super excited to have him. So everyone claps for Jeremy. Welcome to the team officially.
Welcome,
And
sir.
Jeremy, if
Hi,
you could
everyone.
just give us a quick snippet about yourself, maybe what your favorite board game is, your favorite video game, and what you hope to accomplish at Adventure Together. Something really simple so everyone can get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Jeremy, aka Arcane. I've been in software development for quite a while now, and yeah, I'm working as a solutions architect as my day job. And I'm thrilled to join this fantastic team. I can tell that they are really passionate and yeah, really committed to
Arc.
make this product successful. And I want to be part of it. So I will be working on the open source app and the map builder. And yeah, I'm excited to share what we are building, and hopefully we can share with the community soon.
Do you have a favorite tabletop game, Jeremy? Not to put you on the spot, but
I, I, I'm I'm kind of honestly I'm kind of like new to the tabletop gaming, but I'm gaming a lot on um PC games basically. I
got
started with Nintendo, so
it.
that's it.
I think that's where a
Good
lot of
starting
us
point.
started. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's good. And don't worry, we're gonna get your feet actually not even wet. We're gonna dunk you full body into tabletop gaming. But so far, Jeremy's proven to be a really, really exciting asset for the team. And later in the stream, we may show a little demo of what the map maker is looking like today. And we'll talk a little bit more about where we are with the open source application and where we are with the map builder, and hopefully targeting releases in the upcoming future without giving any specific dates. All right, excellent. So, our next topic of conversation is Gamefound. So Gamefound launched a little over a month ago, and so far it's been very, very successful. Over 65% of the users who backed us on Kickstarter have completed their pledges. Oh, sorry, we lost our video. Give me a second. There we go. Over 65% of our Kickstarter backers have completed their pledges in Gamefound. And what that means is that they have paid their taxes, they've paid the shipping, they've entered their address, and Source is coming to them very, very soon. We are probably targeting to end Gamefound sometime in June. So we're thinking second, third week of June. Once we have a specific date, we'll make sure we announce it with plenty of time, make sure that the community is more than aware and has ample time to finalize their orders. But for anyone who hasn't done their order yet, I would recommend doing it sooner than later. Just because you finish your order and you pay your taxes and you pay your shipping doesn't mean that you still can't change it. Gamefound is really friendly in the way that even once you finish your order, if you add things later, it'll only charge you for the difference as far as the shipping, as far as the taxes, and anything related to that. So anyone who hasn't finished their order, please do so. We're going to be sending out reminders on a weekly basis. We've been doing updates for the community on a weekly basis, and this live stream format that we just so much enjoy and haven't had the time to do, we're going to try to get back to a weekly cadence of making sure that we're available to you guys, and we're, you know, a little bit more active than we've been able to be, at least publicly, just because the duck's feet are kicking in below the surface where nobody can see. So just an update from that side. And I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to hand it over to Shaper, maybe introduce Eric, and then let's talk a little bit about grip mats.
Sure. Before I do that, though,
Yeah.
pretty important. We hit a milestone in the Gamefound Pledge Manager. Like we talked about our stretch goals, we're going to continue on into the pledge management phase, and they did. And you guys crossed 250, and therefore we've unlocked. I'm not going to call them square edges because that's not accurate. I'll get into that in a second. But we've unlocked the secondary edge type for the Source system. So thank you everybody for making that possible. We're super excited. This is a component that we're all super fond of. It just didn't make the cut in the initial, run at what we thought this product was going to be. But now we can bring it to life, and that's pretty amazing. So the way that's going to come about is that's going to become a new add-on now in the campaign, which we will upload or have already uploaded.
So
we will upload.
The plan is the add-on is sitting there in the back end of Gamefound. We're going to have it go live tomorrow. That way we can support it in case there's any issues. For those of you who have already completed your backing and you're like, well, I want these new edges, these secondary edges, you can still get them. Like I said, you can add on to your order, and Gamefound will only charge you for the difference in the total cost of the product, the shipping, and the taxes. So I will be making an announcement on Discord, Facebook, and all of our social media channels tomorrow once the add-on goes live and is available for you, and we can start getting that up and running for everybody. So good catch there, Shaper. And we're super excited about it. We got to come up with a good name, though. Everybody's been calling them the square edges because they can make a square board. Right. But we need a better name.
I would be thrilled to just call them square edges. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. So I talked to our engineer because I was like, we need to brand this, right? We've got our edges, and we'll call these square edges or 90-degree edges or, something along those lines. But what he brought to my attention, which I guess I wasn't fully aware of, is that only with edge 1 and edge 2 together can a 30-degree or 90-degree angle be made. If you just have this secondary edge on its own, it's not making any right angles. It would make a 60 and 120-degree angle, just as the other edge does the same with itself. So uniquely, they must be paired to make the rectangular or square-shaped boards. So we don't have a good name for them yet. If you have any good ideas, feel free to submit them. But that's what we're dealing with. Separately, they both, with one another only, make 60 and 120-degree angles. Only one combined, you then start to get 30 and 90-degree angles with the board. But anyway, it's super exciting to have this edge unlocked because I know a lot of players love their sort of rectangular and square-shaped boards. BattleTech being a big community that's been asking for this. And I'm sure there's a lot of other war games that are going to really benefit from it.
I think I'm interested to see the other shapes that come of this as well. Just with our initial edges that everybody's getting, you can make quite a few configurations, like very unique ones too. I remember Salpy and I had one that looked like a giant shark's mouth. It was this huge like eight edge map, and it looked like a shark's mouth. But now with these other edges, I know everybody kind of is desiring them for the rectangular and the square purpose. But I'm wondering if there's stuff that we haven't really played with them enough to know, hey, you're going to be able to make some really, really unique shapes that you would never see before as well. So that would be cool to see.
It looks like Chattington, our AI, has joined the stream.
Oh no.
He's everywhere. We can't avoid him. For context, for those of you who don't know, we have an AI who's awoken in our Discord, which we did not bring here, and he just has a wonderful personality. He just chimes in whenever he wants. Anyway,
yeah, we're not sure how he got here.
I don't know how to respond to his question or if he's even asking one, so I'm just gonna glaze over that.
He did a nice
Bob,
welcome
maybe you know.
of me.
I did not.
He welcomed you. That's really nice.
I did not turn the robot on. I
helped
actually
him.
didn't.
Apparently, he's been welcoming everyone to the community, so we should just be thrilled. He's doing a great job.
Chattington.
Eric, we call him Chattington.
We're not sure how he got into our Discord, but he's been a very, very active member of the community. He even responds with voice messages. That's why he got the name Chattington, right, Chris?
Yes, he has a British accent.
Persona, maybe is what we should call it.
We should figure out how that happened at some point. But anyway, not to get too distracted by Chattington here, who's now just chatting up a storm. This is his third message. But anyway, so yes, I think now would be a good segue off the edges and into the grip mats, which I know a lot of you had a ton of questions about. It's a product I'm super excited, and maybe we could, tell you a little bit about the history of how Source and GripMat started working together. But first, let me introduce you guys to Eric Salyers, who is the founder of GripMats, who we've been working super closely with to get you guys these excellent double-sided neoprene mat products, and we're pumped about it. So, Eric, I will go ahead and give the floor to you. Maybe you can just introduce yourself and share a bit about GripMats and what we're doing there.
Yeah, so thanks for having me, guys. Super excited about it. I really like the new, I'm going to call them orthogonal tiles, tile option. I think that's going to be, I think we talked about that in our initial conversations, that this is going to open up a whole new realm of people interested in your product. And the good news is that GripMat doesn't really have to be changed much except for its surface print to accommodate that. So so I am the creator of GripMats. We've been making mats now for about 10 years. We've got about somewhere between 25 and 30,000 mats sold in that time period. Most of them in the last 3 years. We make we offer actually several different surfaces, but obviously the surface that I think is most applicable here is the grippy surface that will lock the tiles in place, doesn't leave any type of residue on the tiles. It's a very resilient surface. It's waterproof, stain resistant. Actually improves the life of the actual mat itself, because it also has some UV protection that will help the print not fade over time, although you probably shouldn't leave your mats in the sun. We have been iterating that material from our original campaign back in 2014 through both Fates as well as Genius. We have been modifying that to the product that it is today, and I'm pretty happy with where we are with that product. And I think it's going to be a great addition to anyone who's added on to their pledges. It eliminates the need for the barriers or containment in order to keep shapes. It'll allow you to build multiple sections of tiling instead of being limited by what barriers and your barrier setup. So Yeah, so that's my blurb.
Thanks, Eric. I think, yeah, look, it was such a fantastic, like, turn of fate, if you will, to meet you. I think that your experience with Kickstarter, and maybe you could talk about that for a little bit, but you go way back with crowdfunding and tabletop. So when we met, you just had, like a wealth of knowledge that you could share with us about things to look out for and how to start to think about logistics and whatnot. And for everybody listening in the community, Eric is also going to be in charge of the fulfillment for all of these grip mats, which took, a huge burden and a lot of headache off our shoulders. But you have a really long history in logistics and shipping. So it's been wonderful getting to know you, and I really appreciate your support here. And I think everybody and all the players are going to benefit because we've been working together like this. So thank you so much for doing that. And yeah, what was Kickstarter? You were way back in the day, did a Kickstarter, right? One of the largest.
Our first Kickstarter was Disaster Looms, which is a board game that ended up being the highest funded board game up to that time, a massive $76,000, which shattered the previous record, which was somewhere in the 50s. That was in 2012, I think. 2013, it's a blur now. What is time? And we actually fulfilled on time. We which even at that time, the board games that had done Kickstarter already had kind of reputation of not really being able to fulfill on time because people have unrealistic expectations of how long things take. And so we committed to about a 9-month turnaround, but I already have the supply connections. My background is in supply chain and logistics, so kind of if I was a player card in a board game, that would be my special skill. So it went really well. We then launched another Kickstarter for Damage Report, which is still super cool game. It's a dual timer system game, real time, with a game timer built in as well as individual player timers. Simulates essentially the closest thing I've ever experienced to playing a video game as a board game. That one did not fund as successfully as Disaster Looms. We didn't have the fortune of kind of a mention from a massive audience followed celebrity, I guess you could say, which happened in Disaster Looms. And then both of those campaigns led to the creation and the invention of the grip mat. So, and looking for something out there that had a grippy surface on it. And like most other people who have ever tried to find a product like that, went through the various products that are on the market, from felt to drawer liners to all types of various types of materials and sprays and ointments. I felt like I was dealing with snake salesmen at times before finally figuring out that the only way that this was going to happen is if I made it. So
it's pretty awesome though, and I think Shaper kind of touched on this, but we were like mid Kickstarter when we kind of found out about you, Eric. And I remember Chris saying, so there's this guy I met and he's got grippy mats. And we didn't really understand what that meant at the time, but we were looking for a solution for our mats, that our neoprene mats, which is what we were originally selling. And the consistent question we got from the community, it's almost like they were reading our minds, were like, well, do the hexes stay? And we were like, well, they slide. We didn't have a good answer for them. And then all of a sudden we're like, oh, there's this thing called grip mats. And Chris is like, I already talked to Eric and we're going to do something with him. And then we kind of added your product in mid Kickstarter. And I think the first few days we had like an additional 60 orders that included your grip mats. So especially once you sent them to Chris and we were able to demo that, just with a little bit of pressure on those grip mats, they don't move. It's almost like grip mats and Source were built for each other without knowing it until today. And I just find that to be so amazing. It just, sometimes when you have a thought and you have a need and you put it out there, it comes to you. So I'm just super pumped about it. I can't wait to get my grip mat and build out giant source maps on it that are just gorgeous with that whole layer that you could just instantly, it's just like, whoosh, oh, okay, my base layer is done. Now I just build on top of it. I'm super pumped about that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is just being able to lay down the board and then just be able to drop stuff on top. And even just for base like playing, Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder, just here's flat and then I can build up in corners and stuff. So that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
So I have people knock over stuff all the time on the board. So I'm hoping the grip will actually help for a lot of other things as well.
When we originally created it, there's really not. It's really hard to talk about, and especially, I'm working with chemists and basically trying to use technical terms to describe the grippiness. First of all, the word grippiness and like grippy isn't really in the English language. So those are new kind of words that are becoming more prevalent. um, I've actually noticed some other products out there that are using like the concept of grippiness and things. It's like, well, what other word would you use besides that? Stop trying to autocorrect me. um, but because the reality is that like there's also a level of difference between sticky and grippy. Like sticky is unpleasant. Sticky is like, you put something down and you hear that and it like for like especially like paper tiles, which a lot of board game components, Twilight Imperium and Eclipse were two really big early games that we made mats specifically for. And the big concern is, these are expensive games. I put a tile down, I lift it. Is it gonna take off some of the paper? Is it gonna rip this? And honestly, in our original grip coatings that we were coming up with, yeah, it absolutely would have. So it was trying to dial it in to where it is grippy and not sticky, to where it doesn't have an unpleasant residue, to where it actually perseveres, like it doesn't wear out after like 10 uses or 50 uses or 1,000 uses. You want it to be like a permanent coating. And now, I mean, I can say we've had mats in use for 10 years, and you just have to wash them every now and then with water and a soft towel, and it cleans the dust off of the surface and it perseveres. So I have had actually some people who have had mats for quite a while, for 5, 6, 7 years, we've actually done an exchange, or they've sent me back the mat to get retreated, which I've done for some people. Most people just buy new mats, which is kind of my preferred avenue. But I wanted to make a product that was going to solve a problem. And what I ended up doing is I found a whole lot of other problems that I didn't know that our product would solve. Source being one of those, with the design of the tiles and the concept of the stacking and how that's going to transform, I think, gaming. Especially wargaming and RPGs, I think it's going to be a massive, massive innovation. There's going to be a lot of copycats coming along to capture your guys' success. But having the grip surface there with the compatibility of locking those in place without having to have other structures and stuff is going to be a huge win for the community.
That's awesome.
Cool.
And I couldn't agree more. I think what's great about Source too is, and I agree with you, I think there's gonna be a lot of people out there designing similar projects. But the open source nature of this system, and when we do release digital tiles, I hope that those people would instead just come in and be part of this adventure with us. You know what I mean? And just take those tiles and start to come up with their own ideas and build on top of it as a sort of foundational layer. Because I think that spirit of community is what's so special. And I think also, meeting you, I knew right away that I was like, yes, I want to work with this person. I like this product. I liked your energy. I loved your story. I loved where you came from. I felt like, there's this beautiful spirit in tabletop of just it being all kind of community centric and working with each other. And, the second I got your message, I was like, That's why I love this industry. It's so much fun. These opportunities are right around the corner. There's just so many people that want to collaborate and be creative together. So, um, thank you so much. You answered all the questions I had in my head. I mean, I know there were some community questions about washing or maintenance, but it's just
Yeah.
water and a cloth, right?
Yeah, it really is. I recommend microfiber towels. I have so many microfiber towels in my office. I mean, we buy bundles because like the process, we have the mats printed off site, but we actually treat the grippy coating in house. We do custom cutting, we do custom sizing. Um, yeah, we do custom shapes. So there's a lot of handling, treating the mats, and then every single mat, is hand inspected and made sure that it's grippy around the entire mat. I have a lot of extra old disaster looms tiles that I use for testing. So because we had excess components, and those have become very useful little testing pieces. So we have those on both floors in the office, and I can go around like when we're processing mats from being gripped. We make sure that the entire mat's coated, throughout. And mats get rolled, they get put on a shelf. We stock the mats, and then when they actually get ordered, shipped out, we go through the process again just to make sure there's not an issue. We've had issues in the past with fulfillment where mats show up and they've got spots that are not grippy. So we have a lot of quality control processes in place in order to prevent that from happening. And we include maintenance instructions with every mat. So everyone who's ordered a mat will get maintenance instructions on how to handle the mats. The double-sided mats, people ask, well, they slide around on the table, like grippy or not? Typically, no, unless you have a really small mat. A 2x3 or smaller, 24-inch by 36-inch. Those mats are small enough to where you can kind of slide them around the table, but they're not going to move on their own, especially if you're building source components on top. It's not going to be sliding on you. But when you get above that size, about a 2x3, the mat's heavy enough on its own that it's not going to slide around on the table or scoot on you. And whether you were getting the grippy surface or a standard surface, we haven't. Obviously, for your product, we're not doing a standard surface, but that's what we call a standard neoprene surface without the grip coating is just standard surface, because that's what people are kind of familiar with.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's real easy to maintain and to keep in good shape. The only thing that's really hazardous to grip mats is heat. We recommend not putting, like, if you've got a boiling cup of tea, essentially I say anything above 90 degrees Celsius or 170 degrees Fahrenheit, just put it on a coaster. Don't put it on the mat directly. Then you won't have an issue, because the coating will actually react to high temperature like that. But at the same time, it only, like, if you leave it in a car, with the window closed and the sun's on it, and it gets to like 150 degrees or 180 degrees, it doesn't have any impact to the coating or the mat. So it's only like in that instance where you have heat and pressure at the same time. So, and then of course cutting, you don't want to stab the mat.
Yeah.
So,
We'll put that in big bold letters. Do not stab.
do not stab. This also should not be stabbed.
In fact, don't stab any of our products either.
Yeah.
No stabbing of products allowed.
The tiles are pretty strong.
I've taken a knife
That's
to a
true.
tile, and it handles it pretty well. But I like the similarities between what Grip Mats is doing and what Source is doing. It's about like the quality and making sure that they last a long time. I feel like people in the tabletop industry, at least in recent years, have been getting the quality has been increasing and increasing, but in previous years it was kind of like, oh, this stuff kind of breaks really easily. And the technology is kind of scaled now to where the quality of the miniatures is more durable, the quality of everything should kind of follow suit. So the first thing that I was super excited about to hear is that you've had mats out there for 5, 6, 7, 10 years that are maintaining their grip as long as they are treated properly, right? That's great to hear. The second part is how easy they are to clean, right? Nice. Most people have a towel, and if you don't, then use a tissue and probably some water, right? The other part that I really really liked, and I was ecstatic when Chris told me, was like, well, we're doing double-sided. And in my head, I was like, that doesn't work with your standard neoprene mat, but it does work with grip mats because it's got a grippy surface on both sides. So now, when you buy one of these double-sided grip mats, you're sitting there and you're like, oh, today I want to play with all liquid, so I'm going to flip the mat to the water side. Or today I want to play with all land, I'm going to flip it to the other side and not worry about that sliding that you normally would if you flipped a grip mat over onto its standard size. So that was all really important to me, and I just thought it was so unique and special, and really offers specifically, like you said, Eric, our war gamers, our D&D players, a really, really accessible option to say, hey, I laid this out really quickly. Now I can just quickly build, because I feel like a lot of individuals, not all of them, but some of them are not enticed by, hey, I'm going to take the time and build out something. They just want to start. And the grip mat allows them to do that really, really quickly, get the height and get that immersion built on top of it without losing anything from the source system. Really, really fun and exciting. I'm super pumped.
I wanted to respond. Somebody said something about cats and grip mats. So, interestingly, like pet hair is going to happen, and it's going to find its way to your grip mat, just like it will every other surface of your home. But I will say that grip mats, of them. There's something about the coating and the tackiness of it, the grippiness of it on their little paws. They do not care for it, and they will not tread upon a grip mat. So
Wow.
there are, I think, orange cats are probably the exception, because I don't think that they have any awareness. So can't guarantee that. I don't put it in my advertising, but cats are typically will stay away from grip mat surfaces. Dogs, yeah, they don't care. So,
Yeah.
but if you get pet hair on there, you can just wipe it away.
Awesome.
Wow. It sounds like I need to put grip mats all around my couches, just on every couch that I have in my house. So, that's pretty cool.
It solves
I'm
the second
excited to-
problem. Keep your
I've got
cats
2
away
cats.
from areas.
Yeah,
Can
I'm
I
excited to
coat
test
my
that theory.
bird feeders in it. Keep the squirrels away.
You're going to wrap your bird feeder in grip mats, is that what you're saying, Bob? Oh, man.
Hey, if it works, it cost me
I
money.
like the way you're thinking. I like the way you're thinking.
I love that.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Eric. Any questions from the community about grip mats before we move on to the next item here? And I know, Eric, you don't have too much more time with us. So I'll throw it back to the community. If you guys have any questions, send them now. Is anyone paying attention on YouTube?
We do, yeah, I have it. We do have a few questions, but they're not specific to the grip mats. One of them was, hey, can we continue to include grip mats in upcoming crowdfunding efforts? And I think the answer is going to be 100% yes. Grip mats are here to stay with Source, and we're super excited about the partnership, and it's something we want to nurture and keep this relationship really, really strong. Like we've said multiple times.
But also,
yeah, go ahead.
But also, Eric and Grip Mats, they have their own website. Check them out. Google it. Eric, if you want, we can drop a link here in the community too for anybody to go find it. You're more than welcome. Everyone here, we all play a whole bunch of different types of games, and I know Eric and his team have a bunch of mats.
I noticed a post from someone in the community playing Twilight Imperium without a grip mat, and I audibly gasped. So.
That was us, Shaper. That was us. I posted it.
Oh, was
it
that
was
us?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That
we
was
should
us.
have broken your grip mat out.
Us or anything, but Twilight Imperium is one of those games where it is transformational because it locks the tiles in place. They don't slide around. You put it in there and it's done. Eclipse, same thing. Probably not a lot of Settlers of Catan players, but that's a real big seller for us because it completely solves the tiles sliding around the table. Kids, that was one of the other things I was going to mention is like kids, like a lot of feedback I get is like, I can play games with my 5-year-old now because he gets excited and he'll do like bump the table or do whatever, and it doesn't frustrate me anymore because it doesn't mess up the board. And so that's a huge thing. And I think one of the coolest, and I've had a few examples of this now, is people living with elderly parents or taking care of elderly adults. The grip mat actually helps keeping things in place, like for puzzles and other things, to keep them from sliding around, and especially if they have some shaking going on or loss of finger control. It helps with those type of situations also. Again, problems that I wasn't aware of that I was helping solve, but it has ended up being an area where we see some neat feedback and neat customer stories. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, and I'll you can find me on Etsy. I have a website also, gripmat.com. Spelled GRIP mat.com, not the silicon tool mat guy, which is GRYP mat.com. So yeah, cool. Thanks for having me, guys.
Eric, thank you. It was an absolute pleasure, and I hope we can have you on more often, Eric. I think like Chris said earlier, I think everything since we've met you has just been a very similar like mindset and energy, and we're moving in a very similar direction, solving problems we didn't know we were here to solve while trying to solve something else. So super exciting stuff.
Great. Well, have a good evening, guys, and talk to you soon.
Thank you, Eric.
Take care.
All right, that was really great. I'm really excited about the fact that he's had these on the market for like 10 years and they still work. That's the thing that gets me the most. So I'm super pumped about that.
So if you're gonna make your source shed, is this what you use for your source carpet?
Yes, Bob.
Yes.
And your source walls, Bob.
Right?
And your source ceiling.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah, but
that's a good question.
now is
like,
what's
I didn't get
the
to
last
ask what happens if you run full force into one. You get stuck for a second?
Yes.
But what's going to outlive the source? Is the grip mat going to outlive the hex, or is it the other way around?
Oh, dude, our hexes are going to outlive anything.
They're going to be here when the dinosaurs come back.
Dude, when was the last time you submerged something in Mountain Dew for like 6 months and nothing bad happened?
I don't think I can't think of any regular
Don't
scenario.
think about that any further, Schaefer. Don't think about that any further. The answer is never. Our product is invincible with a giant asterisk next to it. Do not test that. But do test it and let me know.
It will do.
All right.
So we have one more section that I want to get to, and then we're going to do Q&A. We do have some questions coming in from YouTube that we'll answer at the end. I wanted to let everybody from the team kind of give an update. We haven't been together as a group, at least not on a live stream in a while. I'd love for Salpy and Bob and Chris and Jeremy, if you're willing. If not, I'll give an update on your behalf. But everybody just kind of state where they've been working, because I know Salpy has a million things he's been working on. So I'm going to toss the ball over to Salpy like that. And Salpy, if you want to kick us off.
So all my focus has just been into time strike. We've been doing final play testing and rule review and adjusting, updating artwork and adjusting the UI of the cards and sizing, and now I'm shifting all the updates into those adjusted pieces so that we can send those out to the manufacturer to get sizing. Especially for like the character boards that get like holes cut into them, So I think we have some excellent updates overall of just what Time Strike is coming out to be and how the characters have kind of taken on some unique roles based on their races and how all the different modes are working together now, and everything is much more fluid as far as the rules and jumping between the different modes. It's just because of the community, the people that have been helping me playtest and giving me good feedback, and a shout out to Captain Stupendous who helped me through a ton of it as he went through the whole rule book and all our cards and everything. It's I'm
Shout out Captain Stupendous, you're the man.
For a long time, I've been nervous to present Time Strike to the world, but now I'm just excited. And I'll leave off with that. We are. I guess I'll do a little spoiler. We are working. She's not here tonight. Hero and I are working on a new biome that the community might be excited for.
Environment theme, Southie, right? Environment
Thank
theme.
you. Yes, environment theme. So we've been working with the artist who did Fantasy Forest, working on a new environment theme, which we'll show off in the months to come.
Are you going to tell them the name of it, Southie, or no? You're going to withhold?
We'll tell them the name later.
Okay. New environment theme, guys. Coming soon. Well, soonish.
Yeah. And with that, I'll pass to Shaper then.
Down to Shaper. There we
go.
go.
This is a ball.
Down to me? Okay,
Yes.
great.
And everybody's in a different spot on the screen, so.
Yeah.
Really? You're not right here, Bob?
No.
Bob's all the way over
you're
there
right
for
here
me.
to me.
Oh, okay.
So I do
Why did
not
we
have
do
a ton of exciting updates for everyone. I think I gave away most of the fun stuff the last time we had a stream where we talked about the manufacturing and the state of it. For those of you who weren't able to join for that call, we have finished the tooling process more or less for Time Strike, and all the minis are currently being made in those tools. So I'll have photos and whatnot to share as soon as I get those in hand. But it's pretty exciting that we got through the process. We, corrected for any issues that we might have seen. We got the sizing just perfect so that they fit on your tiles right, so that as you're placing monsters or the sentients down on the map, it's going to fit wherever you place it, and then all the characters fit as well. So we were very precise about that process, and I think everybody's going to be really thrilled with the quality of the minis. They captured a lot of great details and samples that we got, and even though they have to be assembled in parts, they did a wonderful job over there at Gameland of basically finding the perfect seams so that you can't really tell where the pieces are being assembled from. So I'm pretty thrilled to hold those in hand finally, the ones off the tools. But I'll have photos pretty soon, and I'll share those out to the community as soon as I have them.
Yeah, Gameland's been a really good find for us, huh? Really worked out.
Gameland's a wonderful manufacturing partner, and I think if things keep going the way they are, I don't see any reason why we will ever switch. We'll be keeping them in mind for all the projects we're working on, even the the independent creators and makers in the community making their own games. I'm going to highly recommend that we use a manufacturing partner that we can trust and we have experience with. And they've just been building a lot of trust with us and kind of crushing everything we send their way. So pretty exciting. What else? So the UK Games Expo is coming up over in the UK, and while we won't be there, many of the people we work closely with will. Including my mini factory and Only Games. So if you're going to the UK Games Expo, be on the lookout for a massive 3D printed full color miniature. I won't give away too much, but it's a tornado of some kind. If you see it and you're there, take a screenshot or a photo and send it to us. We won't be there, but we'll kind of be there. Yeah, whatever. We'll be there in spirit through some of our really awesome minis. A lot of our minis are going to be on display. All the Time Strike Shadow of Fear miniatures will also be there, printed on display and for sale. So if you're interested in our minis and you like the minis we make, and if you like the full color minis, stop by the Only Games and or my Mini Factory booth at the UK Games Expo to check out some of our stuff and talk to the team about us. They know us well. We do a lot with them.
Who's doing it?
Tony's teasing it. Tony's teasing it. It looks kind of like that. It's massive.
Oh, kinda.
There's a little teaser. I zoomed in on it for the streamer. So that is the miniature that you will see at the UK Games Expo, and he's gorgeous. He's so cool.
Yeah, that's the sentience for the follow-up for
Heart of
Time
Desire.
Strike Shadow of Fear. This will be Time Strike Heart of Desire with new characters, a new boss, new monsters, more items, more skills, more mechanics. That's we're
And,
all set to just follow Shadow of Fear right up with Heart of Desire.
Yeah, so this is a peek at that sentience, and I also think we have nabbed the crown for the largest, most expensive colored miniature on my mini factory
Oh yeah.
in the history of pre-colored minis, and we're gonna hold that crown for as long as we can. And I think we'll just keep coming up with bigger and more glorious looking sentience to keep our top spot. But yeah, go check that out if you guys can. I mean, we'll live vicariously through you. I wish I could be there to see it, but you know, someone listening now will probably see it before I do. So please send me a photo.
Yeah, and for those of
what
you,
else?
well, real quick, for those of you who are not super familiar, or maybe joining us for the first time, so the Sentience is the world boss in Time Strike, and each version of Time Strike has its own world boss. So the first one is the Sentience name is Fear. This next one for Heart of Desire, that's the name of the follow-up. I wouldn't call it an expansion pack, but like another chapter in the Time Strike series, because they're all going to be playable with one another. That's going to be Desire. And we have some really, really cool mechanics coming your way. You could think about it,
What was
Salpy.
the word we had for
Yeah, we
that?
had a
It
word
was,
for it. I can't think of it right now.
Not an expansion because it's technically its own game. It can be played on its own. It's just all the miniatures, the bosses, the mechanics, everything could just be swapped. So you could play all the characters together. You could play multiple sentiences.
Expand
you could
alone.
play
Justin says in YouTube.
Expand
Alone. I don't know if that's a real term, but it sounds good.
Standalone.
A standalone expansion, right? It's a combination.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a
that's-
standalone expansion.
Yeah, standalone expansion. I like standalone.
Expandalone. I love it.
Standalone.
I love it.
And
Mhm.
who knew linguistics were going to be happening?
Yeah,
Crit-
so hopefully we'll be showing off. I'll be showing off all the characters' final cards this month, and maybe I can show off some of the cards for, or at least the earlier cards for Heart of Desire, so you can get a taste of all the characters that are going to follow up, because it's two completely new races of characters.
Nice. All right, Shaper, you were gonna go on to something else when I cut you off. Sorry about that.
No worries. So the last thing is not an exciting update. It's probably maybe a letdown for some people, but the team will not be going to Origins Game Fair. We plan to go to Origins in June. We'll no longer be attending Origins simply because we have way too much to do. I thought we'd be in a different place when we went ahead and registered and signed up. We did get a booth. We did get a publisher space. However, it's just we don't think it's the best interest of the project and moving things along to go there now. We'll revisit that next year. You will definitely still see us at Gen Con. You'll definitely still see us at Spiel and PAX Unplugged. But Origins is not going to happen. For those of you who might be going to Origins, sorry about that. And I think that's it from my side.
Yeah, and just to reiterate what Chris said, our priority right now is getting Time Strike and Source into your hands, and that requires a lot of our times and to continue innovating in the back end and making sure that the products are as polished and fine and brilliant and perfect for you as we can make them. So we're going to attend as many cons as we can this year that are plausible for the team. Origins just ended up not being one of those things with where we are. But that's only because we're focused on getting you guys this product in the best way possible.
Next year, you'll see us
everywhere.
At everything.
Yeah, that's our goal.
Yeah.
Bob, why don't you give us a little update on your side, Mr. AI?
Yeah. So I don't know how much we've shared about the
We
open
haven't.
source app and all the fun stuff that we're building. I will definitely have visuals to show next time around. I've definitely spent some time talking with a AI model called Claude to do some really cool prototype work. And so I've been with one of my own games in there, which hopefully I'll be able to show some of that off too this next time around. It's got dwarves. dwarves, and they pop out of holes. But yeah, no, I don't have that much to physically show. But yeah, this next time around, I definitely will.
Can you talk to anything that you're working on right now, Bob, or you want that physical show off there?
I think it's a lot cooler to see it actually happen.
Okay.
But actually having, yeah, because Claude, it's got some reasoning skills, so it can actually like help you when you're building rules and talking about rules. It can help find edge cases, which is one really cool feature I've had with it. Is yeah, just being able to ask is like, how do you think someone's going to abuse this rule? And it comes back with pretty good answers. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
that's how someone will do that, and they're like just trying to think of the ways people will try to break your game. It's like you spend so much time sitting at the table, like coming up with all the fun ways you can play the game, but sometimes, and I think all of us here have done that. You sit down at a board game and like, how can I just win so radically that no one else has fun? I've had that thought. I don't know if everybody else does, but I do. And so, yeah, definitely being able to sit down and actually have, this conversation with essentially a robot now. Here's my game. Let's try to break it. It's pretty cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah. So I want to
Yeah.
go ahead, Shaper.
Ooh, that's a good. I'll ask that Vecna. I'll do that right now.
Go ahead,
It's a
Shaper.
great question.
So I was just going to
ChatGPT.
elaborate a little tiny bit.
Please
on
do.
that. Bob is obviously an AI engineer by trade. He has his master's in it, and we've, as a team, have been kind of always looking for ways that we can start to leverage the latest technologies to make the products that we build better, to make our mission, come to fruition faster, if you will, or more efficiently. And so what we're kind of exploring is a tool that will help us troubleshoot and do prototyping and design work more quickly on new and existing game ideas to cut a lot of the time down that it takes to get a product from concepts to table. And I think that this is going to be a product that not only will we be leveraging as a team, but we will be able to offer hopefully soon in the future when it's ready, which could take an indiscriminate amount of time. I'll leave that totally up to Bob. But which could become available as well to a lot of the makers in the community that want to work with us to get their games published. So I believe I envision this being part of our process to get your game ready for market and get our games ready for market, and to do so with a partner, an AI partner, if you will. That'll sort of help speed that process up tenfold. Do I think that this removes, the human element of game design? Absolutely not. We're, as Adventure Together, I mean, that's the number one thing we stand for, is spending time with each other face to face. That includes developing games. I think that's really important. But it's absolutely going to be a helpful tool in our tool set, I believe. And there's also a lot of opportunity right now out in this industry for tools like this. And I know there are teams we've spoken to as well that are working on similar things. And so whether we're the first to crack it or they are, just know that as a team, we're always going to do what's best for our community. And so we're staying in touch with a lot of these other projects. We're doing our own things internally, and we're going to see, what bears fruit first, and we're going to head in that direction. But I for one, am super thrilled for this. I've wanted to see the Wizard in action for a very long time on some really neat AI projects. So we've got one cooking now inside Adventure Together. He's got his hat on. He's ready to make magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is definitely something that happens in my day job too. Is like just having the conversation about how much do you want the AI to assist you, and in computer science, the term we use is like a rubber duck debugger, where you take a rubber duck and you set in front of your monitor and you just talk about your code at it. That's what you do. And so whether that's a person or a rubber duck or whatever. And so traditionally, I just do it in my own head. But now you can actually kind of have that stream of consciousness to the AI model, and it can help you come up with take your own creativity and grow on it. Obviously, you could do the have the robot do everything for you. Obviously, you could do that now. I don't like that, and I'm an AI engineer. I don't like that. I really, really love human creativity, um, and especially when it can show the rough edges and how the process of how you got there, and just having to press a button and you get a game. I don't think that I don't think many people are going to want to buy that either. But a tool that assists any of us to do that creative process, I think could be really cool. I'm unsure of to what level we'll get that tool to do what we want. Like Shaper said, every team on the planet is experimenting with this right now. And so yeah, I'm definitely the next time we're around, I'll definitely have things to show and stuff.
I think the way
Yes,
that
by human hands and minds. Yes.
I think the way we're
Tails is
looking,
absolutely right.
we've been looking at AI since kind of this chat GPT bubble that's occurred, and now you have image creation and you have assistant, is there's no reason not to leverage the power of AI. Tabletop gaming, typically, our goal is to bring people around the table, to bring people away from technology. But the development of getting those games ready and playable for people is very arduous. So if we can have an assistant or a co-pilot, which is a term that Microsoft uses, no trademark infringement, sorry, you all of the sudden have somebody or something helping you, as Bob said, kind of talking at it, and it's helping you iterate and improve and scale and enhancing your ability to be creative in a more efficient and effective manner. So in no way is our interaction with AI to say, hey, we want to replace the human hands and the human creativity, but rather we want to give you an assistant that specializes in tabletop that can help you realize your vision, iterate on your vision, and grow your vision at an exponential rate that has not been possible in tabletop before.
Yeah, look, if you look right now at the trajectory of tabletop games and the massive influx of independent creators who've started to create their own games since Kickstarter, right? That kind of opened the floodgates. And then everybody went, I can build a board game too. I can do this. This will be possible. I can get it funded. I can present my ideas here. I have an audience. I see AI being similarly just another tool to make that explosion double, triple, quadruple in size. Everybody's going to be empowered at some point to go ahead and take an idea that they have, feed it into a tool, and this tool is going to tell them it's unbalanced, or this is how you can exploit these rules, or this wasn't very clear to me. And you're going to be able to iterate on those products way faster, and that just means we're going to have more games to play, and hopefully better games to play.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Because more is not always better, but more better games, that's better.
Yeah. I definitely love that iterative approach. Is be able to sit down and say, okay, what rules are bad, what rules are good, and what rules are confusing. Is another one I had that was really helpful. Is just ask it, is like, which one of these rules is confusing? What don't you understand? And it gave good answers.
Yeah, that's power right there, right? To be able to scan all that text and say, hey, I have a question about this. Helps a lot. Bob, thanks for taking us through that, and Shaper, thanks for giving additional color to kind of the scope of what Bob's working on.
Shaper.
I think we're really excited about we're not just building a board game, we're building an open source community, an open source system. And super, super excited that we have all this going on in the background, even though maybe what you guys see is Source and Time Strike. We have a lot more coming. So I'm going to give my updates now. We had Shaper, we had Salpy, we have Bob. Jeremy, if you want to hop in, I know you don't have to if you don't want to. It's not a big deal. I'm going to give a little teeny demonstration of the map builder. So give me 1 second.
You can do it, Nick.
Okay.
Bro.
I'm going to swap the screen. Everyone here is going to get a little snippet of what the map builder is looking like today. Just remember, everything here is subject to change. This is in an alpha state.
Yeah, it's very early.
But
Pre-alpha,
sure. But I want you guys to see the direction that we're going. We fully anticipate in the future giving our myths access to this system as an alpha test. We fully anticipate rolling it out to the pioneers later after we polish it even more so that they can start using the system, because our goal is to get something that is in its minimum viable state that you can use, and then start gathering feedback from the community as quickly as possible, iterating on it, and make something that brings value to your day-to-day. So give me 1 second as we switch screens. Window capture. No. All right. Here. Okay. And I'm just waiting for it to show up in the stream.
Showing up,
Beautiful.
including the URL.
We could crop it out.
It's too late now.
Well, there you go.
I don't see you sharing anything in Discord.
It's
won't
on
see it
the
in Discord.
stream.
So if you're in Discord,
just
check
opening
out
on YouTube.
the
Okay.
YouTube channel,
Yep,
and we'll
I see
go
it on
from
YouTube.
there.
I do see it on YouTube.
Okay.
Here, I'll
So
go to YouTube
this is
link.
built in a web browser at the moment, and you are able to load it up. This is being built in Unity. So upon joining, you will then get the map builder. You can then select a new map. You can select your map size. So in this case, we'll do a 32 by 32. And it loads dead center, just like that. And you'll see we have our single hexes, our 15 hexers, and our 24 hexers at the bottom. You also have the ability to choose from our various biomes and environment themes. So for now, we're going to just put a few edges down. And again, this is all happening within a browser, and I built it bad because I'm bad. But that's okay, we could fix it. There we go.
You get a medal for trying.
Do I? Salpy already took my medal away. And we'll put that
I'll
there.
make you another one.
Thanks, bud.
Because your brother steals your medal doesn't mean you don't get one.
And we'll put down some Fantasy Forest tiles. And you can see this is really... Go ahead.
What is the approximate timeline for this from Tales of Valhalla?
The approximate timeline, I'm not going to give one out today.
Yeah, we're not going to answer that question.
We're not going to answer that today, but as soon as we can is the answer that I'm going to give right now.
When it is going to create only a joyous experience for the people that use it, that's when we'll
Does
release
this
it.
spark joy?
Yeah. When we're done with it, we're like, you know what? We think this will bring everyone joy and not frustration. That is the
Exactly
time
right.
you launch a new thing.
But right now, it does work pretty
You put the
well
water in the
for
wrong spot.
our alpha state. We're able to place tiles. We're able to place our
flame
15 hexers. And we have some exciting features that we want to show off as well. Just showing you a quick glimpse. And then we have this playback mode. So this is something that you're going to be able to watch the build back in real time, so that if you wanted to share this with somebody, you'd be able to download this playback, provide it to somebody. Let's say you're going to their house later and you say, hey, I built a source map in the map builder. Can you please rebuild this? This will give them the vision of, okay, this is what's on the bottom layer, the second layer, the third layer, the fourth layer, and they would be able to pause and build the map on their table the exact way you did in the map builder. You also have a view mode. So when I click F3, we go into what we call our view mode, and this is just turning off the ability to build. And that's kind of where we are right now. You can build height, you can build the 15 hexers, you can build the 24 hexers. You can also, and I want to show this, we do have the trees as well loaded in, so you will be able to grow trees. I love the way that they animate and grow. That's really cool.
So we're getting a question here from Patrick. Will it have a feature that shows what each layer is, like a number showing how high a given section is? So we, as we mentioned, we're developing this now. Jeremy's doing a phenomenal job. As you can see what we're demoing here on the stream, it's super exciting. But we absolutely want to know from the community what features you want to see. Now is the time to tell us. I mean, there's really no hard and fast rule for what we can do here. We can kind of explore anything.
Should be able to show
right, and I don't think we're going to stop developing on this. We're going to keep trying to make this better and better and better. So long as people are enjoying Source, we'll continue to develop this tool so that you can build maps and share with each other in a more frictionless way. So tell us kind of what you want to see. We love to hear what features you guys are most interested in seeing, and then we can add that to our list of requirements, to our roadmap.
Jeremy, we might change the URL just to deal with that, but we'll worry about that later, since Salpy had to tell the world, just in case.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But what I will probably end up doing is clipping some of that and putting it on our Discord and maybe in our YouTube and start showing it off. And then we're going to start polling the community and doing surveys. That's another reason we want you in there as soon as possible testing, though, because, Patrick, it's ideas like that. We want to implement features that bring you functionality that benefit you and bring value to your experience. We don't want to just implement things because they seem cool or they look cool, things like that. We want to bring stuff that the community will use on a day-to-day basis that they'll be able to do. And it's just really exciting how far we've come.
What Justin just brought up too in YouTube, having it have a printable build instruction as well. That should totally be doable.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Look, our product development cycle here has always been similar to what you'll see out there in a lot of other companies. It's you build a prototype, you release it to potential customers, they give you feedback, you iterate, you continue on in that loop over and over and over and over again. What we've always tried to do better, I think, than anyone is that part where we listen and then actually do what you told us to do. So as a company, that's kind of, I think, one way we've been trying to differentiate ourselves for years is really, listening to community feedback, having these open dialogue, and then making sure that our products reflect what we're hearing. So speak up now, because we're in the middle of dev, and here's Jeremy, here's the team working on it directly, and we want to hear what you guys want, what features you're most excited about. So that we can keep making it better. I think testing is going to be really fun. We have that select group of myths in the community that are going to help us test, and we're really thrilled for that. But this is probably, at least for me, the most exciting thing going on at the company right now. I can't wait to see where we can take this map builder. I think it's going to be, pretty awesome. And I think there's actually some ways that we can bring in VR and or AR type experiences to a tool like this and see how that might translate to Source in the physical world as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of exciting stuff to explore down this path. So we want the community to be part of it. And I know you guys have been asking us for a map builder for a very long time. Tell us what you want. Tell us what you want to see.
I think
try and build it in.
Yeah, the key that Jeremy and I have been exploring is making it super accessible. We don't want to have you go to Steam and download a Source map builder. We want this to be hyper accessible, at least at its base core. So you will be able to simply boot up your browser, load the site, and the goal is that it would be as thorough and featureful as the browser lets it. And then if we need to have an actual application because we want a more feature-rich version of it, that's something we'll explore in the future. But we thought it was really, really important to just say, hey, here's a URL. Go ahead, take it. And yes, Tails, virtual source is definitely on our radar. I'm just putting it out there. Very, very much on our radar. Yeah, AR technology, Justin. Exactly that. Exactly that. That's like I said on our radar. So that's the updates from my side. We're not ready to show off the open source app yet. That's much earlier stage of development. We've been working hard on the map builder, and we will continue to provide updates and share screenshots on what we have going on. I would like a proper application. Okay. And I think that is any other updates you'd like to share. If not, we'll go to the Q&A and we can wrap up tonight's stream.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to quickly, I guess, summarize because I just realized kind of a theme running through our stream this week, which is basically we're not building a game. We're not even building a platform for games. We're building an ecosystem around Source. It's going to include applications and map builders and adjacent products like our grip mats. We're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep on reinventing ways to incorporate Source into your everyday sort of gaming experience. And we're never going to stop doing that. And so just count on Adventure Together to keep coming back and going, oh, we found a new way to do this. We found a new exciting product that actually works perfectly with this. Or, oh, we built and designed this new application that will help make this funner or easier or, more accessible, whatever it ends up being. I think that drive behind Adventure Together is something that it's another thing that sets us apart is we're going to continue to innovate and improve on and build an ecosystem around Source as this sort of central hub for all the things you want to do that relate to tabletop gaming.
Yeah, exactly that. So we could jump to the Q&A section now.
It'll be cool.
It's getting cooler every day, and I agree with Chris. This is some of the most exciting stuff we've gotten to work on. As much as the Source system and the physicality of our products and everything, it's an ecosystem. Everything has to work together, and we're not going to stop innovating. We want to get faster, better, more efficient, and bring you better products every day and help you guys as well. So first question from Patrick. Is there any way to trade out edges that you've already pledged with the square ones instead of having to add them on separately? So I'll tackle this. Right now, you get your edges that are included in Source. Those are not the square edges. If you purchased additional edge packs in your Gamefound, you can absolutely remove the other edge packs and do the square edges instead. And there should be no difference.
Even
the
if they
cost
checked
is the
out?
same. Yes, not a problem. They wouldn't have to pay anything extra. It would just update their order because the shipping weight is the same
test that right
and
now.
the price is the same. You can't test it right now because the add-on's not live yet, Bob.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you,
Don't
Bob.
test it right now.
So you can do that. I've seen the reason I know that works is because other people have done that. They've checked out and then they've swapped products in and out. Like I said earlier, Gamefound will only charge you additional if the weight of your product has increased and it increased your shipping costs, or if the overall purchase price has changed, which would increase the taxes. But if you do a direct swap between your edge pack and your square edge pack, they're absolutely interchangeable, so you can swap them out at any time with no additional costs. If you have any issues, reach out to me on Discord. I've been chatting with a lot of the community, helping them work through these issues, and Gamefound has been nothing but hyper supportive in getting these issues resolved. So really, really, really incentivize you guys to go check that out. The next question. In a previous video, I remember hearing that you guys will have resources to help the community build its own components for their own created games. Can you build on what that entails? I feel like we started to touch on it, but Tony or Shaper, you want to handle that question?
Build components like physical components?
Where's the question coming from on YouTube?
YouTube. From Patrick. In a previous video, I remember hearing that you guys will have resources to help the community build its own components for their own created games.
Oh.
Yes. So there's a couple of things we're going to be able to give you guys. So the first is obviously we're doing a digital launch of Source itself. So the tiles, the hexes, literally all the physical parts you'll get in digital form, and you can use that to do whatever you want, honestly. You can build textured surfaces on the top and paint them by hand. You can build cup holders or dice towers that lock into the edges. So there's going to be a lot of flexibility there. We'll also we'll be doing a lot of that on our side too, and we'll release all that stuff probably for free just in the community, so anybody can kind of benefit from the work we do on accessories or things that are meant to be 3D printed to add to the Source experience, the physical components. The other piece is we'll make templates. In every box of Source already, you'll be getting a sticker pack, which you can then use to put some of the biomes you maybe didn't get to buy this time around onto these blank hexes and create your own sort of environments there. Additionally, we'll give out templates online, whether it's a PSD or whatever you need to go ahead and maybe start to print your own biomes at home. So if you're building a game for the Source platform and you're testing out a certain space representing a certain mechanic, you can go ahead and print that at home, peel that sticker off, and go ahead and put it on each tile individually to sort of test those things. So we'll be coming up with all sorts of different ways that we can support creators who are trying to create their own custom games. One of the best ways, if you want that support, is just to reach out to us. Our DMs are always open. We're working with like 8 different design teams right now on a whole bunch of different projects. And the best way to start thinking about what you need and how we can help is just to reach out and tell us kind of what you've got going on. And then we can really kind of figure out what works best for you. I think after we've done this enough times with independent creators and we've been through the process, and a lot of them are very far along, close to being ready to publish, we'll have a really good sense of what it is that new creators need. And we can think about just getting a single package together where it's like, oh, you're a maker considering building for Source, go to this link, download these assets, this will get you off to a rip-roaring start. But I think right now we're still trying to figure out kind of like what's most important for independent creators, what it is they're really looking for, what are the best tools we can give to them to equip them to build games quickly on Source. I hope that helps answer your question. But it'll be a mixture of the actual engineering files for Source when we do a digital launch, and it'll be a mixture of some like digital templates and files initially, and then we'll continue to expand on those resources for makers as we learn more about what it is that's most important for them.
And I think something else is the more development that kind of happens within the open source app will make more files available across the communities as well, especially for anyone that lists them free to play games on the Source app. So if somebody does come up with a really cool character board and you want to say, hey, can I use this, the SLT, not the SLT, the files would be there for download, and you could work with them to use some of their components as well. So there's going to be this back and forth within the community. Oh, I like this, I didn't like that, where you're getting feedback and you're also sharing resources with one another, which will help you drive your components faster as well.
So I can answer all of Justin's questions if you want me to just grab those.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Because I was gonna do it. Yeah.
The first one is absolutely. We're not just gonna have dungeon, shadow, and swamp. We'll have like 100 additional biomes on top of that. So there's literally no limit to how many biomes and environment themes we're gonna come out with. So you can count on there being a plethora more. In fact,
I could add on to that. The way we're kind of approaching biomes is
environment themes.
You're gonna yes, thank you. The way we're approaching environment themes is they're kind of limited time bits. So we're gonna do print runs on certain biomes based on what the community wants, based on what our next product coming out to pair alongside with it is. So you're going to see a huge just repertoire of worlds that are going to be able to be built, but there's going to be certain tiles that over time are going to become rare because, we might not do a print run for a certain type of theme for a year or 2 years or 5 years, whatever it is. So you're going to see lots of different worlds. We're getting lots of different artists to work on these worlds. It's very much a collaborative effort. It's not just a main, this is our water, this is our this is our that. It's artists kind of expressing themselves and how they would build their environments out.
And he also asks, how often do we plan on introducing new environment themes above that, just so you guys are aware, because you kind of skipped that. Go ahead, Bob.
I don't think there's a specific timeline. I think that a lot of our environment themes are going to get paired along with a product or paired along with some sort of event or scenario that we're having go along with it. If we partner with a game that has something to do with like a war-torn city or something like that, you're going to see that kind of environment that goes along with that game come out. and so we couldn't give a specific timeline for that, but unless Shaper has something else he would add there.
No, I think the short answer is we don't know. But we can certainly do it in a high enough volume if there is the demand and the interest for it. So provided the community's still excited about new themes, we'll churn them out. Or we'll go to, we've got a new game coming out. This game plays in this world, and therefore we're going to launch this world alongside this game. There's going to be a lot of different ways we kind of bring them to bear, but you won't be waiting a very long time for new environment themes.
Source Golf is a good example.
Already. Yeah, a lot of them are already done. We actually had to just kind of we had to decide what we could get done in this first go. There's a lot we wanted to launch, but the actual logistics of doing that were insane. So we already took on way more than we probably should have on this first project, launching 5 different themes. We probably could have launched 8 or 9. So they're there, they exist, they're coming. When is a question as to let's see how we're doing with what we've got currently, and we'll take it from there. I think that retail will also play a role in determining how we go about launching new ones. Right now, we're rolling out one theme at a time to retailers. So we're rolling out first Fantasy Forest, followed by either Frozen Tundra or 8-Bit. We'll figure out which one it is, but we're going to be rolling them out one environment theme at a time, and that is that cadence, something we're going to be keeping an eye on, seeing how they're selling month over month, seeing if retailers who have successfully sold out a first theme are interested in getting a second and third and fourth and fifth. And if they are, and that cadence seems to be sustainable and something that the retailers want from us, then we could probably start releasing themes in cadence with that interest. That's what I mean when I say demand and interest. So if distributors and retailers are like, we got themes every 2 months for the past year and they've been selling off the shelves, then we're going to go, great, then we'll keep making them every 2 months. It's that simple. So again, it's a lot of it's going to depend on how that kind of goes out in the retail environment. Because obviously, to make a sort of sustainable cadence of this.
Another thing I want to add onto that too is we may have these print runs of, say, Muddy Battlefield. Like we may have that print run and we say, hey, everybody who wants to buy one, let's buy one, because then we'll, print them all in one go and then we'll ship them out. But then if we come to the conclusion that nobody else wants to buy that again in the future, we will still have those vinyl stickers we talked about as well. So you will still have the capability of getting all of our biomes in a cheaper manner for us and for you that you can just stick on any time on all the the blank tiles that you'll also get alongside it. So it may not be that, hey, I actually have this tile because we only printed it one time because we only had the demand to print it one time. You can still have the vinyl stickers.
Yeah, we don't plan on.
It's going to work for games as well.
Yeah, we don't plan on being like, hey, this is it. You'll never see it again. I mean, maybe as far as the actual print runs based on demand, but we are always going to save all of our assets like we always have been for future projects, future efforts, and to share with the community. That way you're not stuck. Let's say if Muddy Battlefield doesn't generate enough demand and you're like, well, I want this. And we say, well, this is another route you can take to get it.
To grow on that a little too, there is one thing that Shift's brought it up here too, is like a lot of companies will do that, make the limited time run, and even if there's demand for a thing, they'll never print it again. One of the things that we really do hope to enable, especially in the Source app, which a bunch of people have been asking questions about, is the capability of saying, if there is enough demand for another print run of Muddy Battlefield, and enough people have clicked it, well then why aren't we going to do it? If enough people want a reprint of a thing, why would we not enable you to get that? It doesn't make any sense. And so many big companies like forcibly do that. Say, well, no, we're not going to reprint that. We're putting that in the Disney vault, and you're never going to see it again. You don't get to watch Mulan. It's never coming back out. Bye. And I never want to enable that. Like that is, I think, a very bad business practice. And I'll go on record. And I think if the customer says they want the thing, and enough customers say it, well, then we'll print it. we'll be transparent and say, no, if 15 people want it, we can't print that. Like there's no money involved. Like obviously we lose money and you lose money. If you want to spend $100 a box, maybe then we could print it. But nobody's gonna do that. They don't want just one biome enough for $100. No. But if 10,000 people say they'll buy it for $10, now we can do it. And it's something that we can be transparent about. We can say to you, hey, you go tell your friends, you get the community around printing another muddy battlefield, it will absolutely do it. Why wouldn't we? Like, there's no reason you wouldn't do that. And so it's us being totally transparent with the actual printing of our product, which I also don't see that often from many publishers. We'll be transparent about that. We know the cutoff for us to not lose money putting that in a, getting it printed, getting it in a shipping container, getting it to, wherever you're supposed to be, and then getting it to your actual house. Like there's cost involved to all those things. We haven't really dived super deep. And that's one thing that, these guys over here, tons and tons and tons and tons of work to figure out how to get it from box A to your front door is not just one person. It's not. And the same thing would apply. If you want more Muddy Battlefield, we can do it. We'll know the cost. We'll know how much the cutoff is. And we'll be transparent and share some of those details with the community, which I don't see many other companies doing.
Two things I want to add to that is absolutely, like we've always said, we're the publisher that's going to listen. So if you guys tell us you want a theme, we'll get it back. We'll get it for you. Our job is going to be to give you a voice in the simplest way possible. And I think that's either going to be through voting or some sort of page where you're going to be able to come in and say, this is what I'm requesting, this is what I want, and we're going to be able to very easily see what people want, and we're going to let that be our guide. So we'll always have this direct engagement with the community. We'll always be active in Discord. We're going to develop tools to give you guys the power to tell us what you most want. We're going to get that to you. We also have, our manufacturing partner is uniquely capable of doing smaller runs than a lot of the other manufacturers in the industry. It's one of the reasons we've been excited to work with them. So we don't need a massive demand. I think sometimes we only need about 500 people interested in a product to make it work. So for us, everything Bob said is 100% how we intend to proceed. And our two unique advantages are, one, we listen really well, and we're going to build tools to empower you to have a voice. And the second is we have a manufacturing partner that's willing to work with smaller quantities, which means for a product like ours in particular, it's, got all these different themes. It's going to be easy for us to release, more and more and more. A couple other questions about walls
Justin.
and line of sight blockers from Justin. Yes, we're working on them. There's a ton coming, like a lot coming. Not only, so some are going to be products. Some we're going to be able to package, box, and ship to doorsteps. Some are just going to be 3D files that we're going to release for makers. I believe there's going to be a life cycle of, it's going to start as a 3D object. Some makers are going to play around with it, see if they like it, love it, and then it'll turn into a product. So again, a lot of what we're going to be doing here is going to be about listening and testing and getting things into people's hands quickly. So I have a lot of line of sight blockers. When we drop digital source, I'll be revealing some of those awesome line of sight blockers, buildings, props, and things that you can use to accessorize and have more fun with source. I know how important that is. I love them myself, the buildings, the props, the walls, the different types of trees and rocks, and flora and fauna. It's all coming. A lot of it's already done. We just haven't revealed it yet or talked too much about it. But yeah, this is a part I'm super excited about. I also think when we release the digital source files, you're going to see, hopefully, lots of 3D sculptors come into the space and start coming up with their own things. That's something I would be thrilled to see a community form around, how you can start to 3D model your own props and buildings and objects and modular things that slot in and connect with the board. There's a lot of really exciting stuff. Is all I can say that I've been working on behind the scenes. I'll start to share it soon, so everybody can see kind of where my head's been at, and see if you kind of align with the props and buildings and things that I've been building. But generally, yeah, they serve the purpose of blocking line of sight. They bring life to the board. They make the board feel a heck of a lot more alive, and they're really great devices for storytelling if you're using Source for like Dungeons and Dragons. So yeah, I'll start to share some images maybe over the next couple of weeks, so you guys can start to give me early feedback on what I've been working on.
Something else we can do is we can include a lot of those assets in the source map builder eventually, so that you can play around with them too. That's going to be an easy way for you to start understanding what they are and how they apply to the map. So that'll be something we'll be implementing for sure once we're in a usable state for those.
There's a question, LL Kool-Aid. I forget, is there a plan for a library of source playable games? Yes, so that's going to be part of the source app we're working on. All the games that Adventure Together releases, you will have rule books and a certain amount of files on the app accessible to you. And as well as everything else that everyone is posting as far as print and play goes. But yeah, all of our games will be listed on that app. They'll be able to, at a certain point in the future, be ordered. You could order it through the app, and you can compare it against other games and see people's, variations of our games and everything else, all within the source app. That's the goal.
And that was
Oh boy.
Shifrex mentioned above that that he's really hyped to play test source app, use the source app. What is the depth of functionality that we see for the community made content on it? Are you going to have a hub where you can see other people's games, rule books? What does that look like in a whiteboard goal sort of sense? So I can speak to that. Jeremy and I and the whole team has been working on the kind of base requirements for our minimum viable product of the open source system. And right now, the goal is that you would be able to register, log in, and then you would have kind of a list of projects that you could create under your account. And within that project, you're going to be able to upload assets and upload rule books, whatever it may be, and basically build that project out, which would be your game, or it might not be a game. It might be an experience on Source. I think that it's not always going to be a game. It might just be a storytelling like system, or even like a template for building out D&D maps, something like that. It's not always going to be limited to games, so that's why we're calling them projects. And then within those projects, you're going to be able to enter descriptions. You're going to be able to upload your assets. You're going to be able to set the labels and basically make it so that your project appears in the library for Source. So when somebody else logs in and they come and they look at this project list, and it'll be very similar to what you would see on like a Steam store. We're reinventing it. We're doing it for tabletop, but the concept is very similar because it's that indie developer kind of world, and you're letting people roll these out. So you'll have like a featured section, and then you'll have a complete library of the games that have been uploaded so far, and it'll tell you what components you're going to need in order to play those games. And then you could download, print and play at home, or if you can't print at home, you can always send it to the local print shop nearby you. Go pick up your documents or your 3D printed files, things like that, bring them home, and then play. So yes, 100% we're going to have this hub that is built for the community, for them to manage their projects, upload their details, and let everybody else view and download from those projects. It's also going to allow you to have a feedback loop. So you'll have comments, you'll have rating systems and things like that. And we're still in the early concept phase of that, but that's the long-term vision there.
I'll add on to Jason's point. He said, and adaptations of existing games to be playable on Source will go on the Source app too. So yeah, one of our goals is a very similar fashion to the way GitHub works, is you can branch off of people's rule sets, and then you could recommend back to them and say, hey, this is what I changed. Here's my recommendations. And they could then take those changes and essentially accept or decline them. For us as a major, as a company, for our major titles, we would essentially allow the community to request these changes. We would have a voting process and whatnot, but essentially the community will have a central hub that they could go to, that they could join their feedback together and say, hey, Time Strike has this rule, and the community wants to change it in this way. And we'll say, we'll go through our process and we'll say, yep, we'll take the change, we'll upload it, it automatically goes into the Source app, and then all our future print runs of Time Strike would have those new rules printed in the rulebook. Or, if you just want to create your own variation of the game with some janky, crazy rules that you like to play with your friends, you'll have it hosted there as well, and say, hey, I want to play Time Strike the no rolling version. I want to play Time Strike this version, or whatever it is.
Yep.
Yeah, I think, and then
Yeah,
to
to grow
whoever's
off
point.
the next one that was there with what Selby had mentioned is we hope to enable everybody to tear apart our own games and make as many versions of our own games as possible. Where Himaro mentioned Steam. Steam has certain rules where you can't just obviously upload Fallout 4 as your own name and then play it. Obviously, you can't do that. There are obviously rules and laws around those sorts of things. We hope to have a very vibrant community of as much open source as possible. And so you look at something like Nexus Gamer, the hub for all the mods for Fallout. Like, that's a fully open thing. People can make as many mods for Fallout as they want, and they can do crazy things inside there. And it's fully enabled, and Bethesda's totally happy with it, and legality around, it's wonderful. But you can't just make a copy of Fallout 4, and you can't sell it. So there's always those weird rules, and so that's why I mentioned is like there'll still be laws, and I'm not a lawyer. I just play one on TV, and so I'm not going to tell you one way or the other.
There will be a review process. That's the way to put it.
Yeah,
There will be a review process on everything you guys
share
upload.
stuff freely, but once it gets into monetization, there's a whole different process.
Exactly.
We're going
right.
to talk to our legal counsel about it. We're going to cross our T's, dot our I's, do everything.
Yeah, our wizards. Or talk to our wizards about it.
But then, yeah, other people had mentioned here too, forums. Forums are very rough. They're very difficult to moderate. It requires people and time. Right now, I think a lot of our focus is going to be spent here in the Discord. And so,
your game's never going.
What'd you say, Selby?
Sorry, Shift. I said Shift. Your game's never coming out on our.
No, as long as it's not monetized, he can release it 100 times over.
No.
I'm not sure we could actually host those files. Like that, I don't know. That's where it's
listen.
Like you can't do that in Steam. That's the thing that exists right now. You cannot.
Well, first of all, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But for Shift, I will fly to whatever country I need to and pitch this to the IP holders if that's what it takes.
We're all moving to
never,
Norway is what you're saying.
Never say never, because the more I hear never, the more I want to do it.
Exactly right.
I think
Shift, no matter what, we've got your back. That game will become accessible.
You can host it as a mod in Steam. You
can't
host
I
it
was
as
gonna.
a game in Steam.
Yeah, there's
we'll discuss. Guys, we'll discuss it offline.
For games that use existing IP, we're gonna have to do some research to figure out how we can make it accessible to the community. But obviously, there's gonna be and it is a great question from Jason. There's gonna be a lot of adaptations of existing games that people are gonna want to release, and we're going to need to know what the rules are around that, and we're gonna need to play by those rules. Obviously, we're on your side here. We want to see those things up on the source app. So we'll just have to figure that piece of it out. And I'm confident we will.
Exactly right. All
right.
right.
We'll do that. We'll just actually contact Nintendo in your favor. Because I want to play that game.
Source Monopoly. That sounds fun. It's a good idea, Shipwreck.
Monopoly's got to be going into the public domain here soon. It's been out forever.
Any day now.
I'm checking.
We actually, I think we answered all the questions. But yeah, I think as far as like IPs and stuff like that, it's part of the learning curve. We're going to tackle it like we have everything else, and we're going to come out the other side much more knowledgeable and able to help anybody who wants to come out with kind of customized games under existing IPs. There's got to be a way that we could do it, and if we can, we will figure it out. So that we promise you.
What else is great as well is that, and I mentioned earlier with Eric on the call, is that this is a community that has really always surprised me and excited me with its like collaborative spirit. And so I feel like if we were to reach out to a lot of the people behind games that I know people are going to want to adapt, they'd probably be thrilled. They'd probably be pretty excited. They'd probably be like, yeah, I want more players to play my game. Why wouldn't I? So I think I think ultimately we're going to have to handle those all on a case by case basis. There'll be what the regulations and laws state, and we'll have to follow those. And then there will be, creative ways we can kind of, push things more towards open source. And then there's going to be collaborations, simple communication, reaching out to people that are behind projects that we love, telling them we love their projects, and that's why we want to share them. And I think you'd be surprised how many people would just be thrilled to hear that.
Yep. So I think we've covered all the questions. This was really great. I'm so happy to see the team together. I see Hero had joined for a little bit, but we'll get her on next time. And we're going to, like I said earlier in the stream, we're going to try to make these more of a weekly, if not at least a bi-weekly thing. I think it's just good to talk to you guys and give you updates. We really, really enjoy it, and it's great to have the whole team together. It's been a while. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And any last words from the team? Nope.
Welcome aboard, Jeremy.
Yep. Welcome to the
welcome
team,
aboard,
Jeremy. And
Great adventure.
keep adventuring to all of our pioneers and myths. And we'll see you in the Discord. And thank you very much. It was an awesome night. Bye, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.